We're going to go to Buffalo Bills training camp in Rochester, and Sal Capaccio from WGR is on the field with the team. They are practicing right now. Sean McDermott had his press gathering this morning, and Sal joins us here on Big Board Sports 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Good morning, Sal. Roger Weiland, Chris Honorato, ESPN Radio in Albany.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's
Couple
up,
things.
Sal?
Number one, no more in Rochester. They're back in Buffalo for good. We're here at One Bills Drive today.
Wow.
They've broken camp already, so they've come back, and it's regular season basically from here on out. And I'm waiting to go out to the practice field now, so we're going to be out there in just a little while. But so far, they haven't let us out there. Sometimes they run a little behind, and you know the way these coaches get with the media. They don't want anybody to see anything they're not supposed to.
Oh, never experienced that before, Sal. Hey, let me start with this. How did the A.J. McCarron story get so messed up?
Well, he was not on the field for the second half of the game. I'm the radio network sideline reporter, and I noticed he never came out for the second half. So there were some questions being asked what was going on. And when you're, down there and you're watching these guys, usually they come out, even if something's wrong, a lot of times they'll be on the field. So you knew something had to be really wrong. Well, apparently, I don't know how it happened, but the Buffalo News reported that, he had a broken collarbone. And that's what, most of the media ran with. And it was reported the other day that that's not the case. The tests were inconclusive. He went for a second opinion, and maybe some people thought that was the case originally upon initial tests, and that's how they got it. So I can't speak for them. I don't know. But here we are today. He's limited in practice today. He's going to be out there. And he does have shoulder soreness, but it looks like it's not broken.
Well, good for A.J. McCarron, right? That is good news for him for sure. Bengals at the Bills Sunday at 4. Josh Allen, Sal, gets the start in Week 3. How do you read into that?
Well, look, this is what Sean McDermott's doing. He's still making this an open competition, and he wants to make it a fair fight, and he's had each quarterback start a game. He had A.J. McCarron start last week. He had Nathan Peterman start Week 1. So he's given Josh Allen a start here in week number 3. And I'm trying to figure out if Josh Allen can win the job this Sunday or if it's his job to lose Sunday. And I think there's a big difference there, because maybe they feel like he does give them the best chance to win because he can make certain plays that the others can't. Or maybe he feels that he's not quite ready, and Nathan Peterman, to be honest with you, may have had the best preseason of any of these quarterbacks out here. He's 85% passing. He's 17 of 20. So maybe they're waiting to see if, Josh Allen can have that one game where he can really kind of take charge and be the guy. I do know this, though, and this is what I suspected, and Sean McDermott confirmed it today, which is the reason he announced it on Monday instead of waiting till game time like he had the previous 2 weeks is he wants Josh Allen to go through the routine of being a starting quarterback throughout the week, doing his media stuff, knowing what it takes on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as far as practice schedule and routine. And like I said, we're back here in Buffalo now, and since they're playing Sunday, it's a chance for this team to actually simulate a regular season week. Well, Josh Allen's never done that in the NFL, so that's why Sean McDermott named him the starter Monday, so he can get that feeling, because at some point, whether that's week 1 of the regular season or not, he's going to be the starting quarterback here.
And if you follow Sal on Twitter, you already saw a bunch of that from Sean McDermott during his press conference. Check him out on Twitter, at Sal Sports, the Bills beat and sideline reporter for WGR. Sal, for as much as you've been around this team and this franchise, Roger and I have talked about this on the air, to break that postseason drought last year in a season that maybe some people, even within the organization, didn't see coming, and then to turn the thing over to a rookie quarterback. How will that, do you think, be received by the fan base in Buffalo?
Well, there's lots of fans that want Josh Allen to play. He is the future. He's going to start at some point. There's a segment of the fan base that wants him to sit. But, I think that you gave up all these assets to get him. You planned for a year to draft a quarterback, which they clearly did by giving up their 2017 number 1 pick to Kansas City in order to get a couple in 2018 to have that maneuverability around the draft board. This has been in the plans for a long time. So, I think fans are perceiving it just fine. And if Josh Allen gets named the starter, they're very excited about that because they know he has the ability to make certain plays that the other two simply can't and aren't even willing to at times because of the arm talent. But there's certainly a segment of the population here, the fan base, that feels that it's too early and don't rush Allen. And we've seen this happen before with other quarterbacks, and they're a little scared of that happening, there's no doubt.
Sal, what about the supporting cast around whomever the starting quarterback is going to be? Offensive line, wideouts, receivers. Where do you stand on the supporting cast for, say, a Josh Allen this week?
Well, first of all, they have LeSean McCoy, and obviously to me, he's still one of the top 5-6 running backs in the league. even at the age of 30, he's still in camp, looks great. Now, I will say he's hurt right now. He's dealing with a groin and hip injury that he's day-to-day out here, and he was not going to practice today, so that is a concern, and, we'll see where that goes. Hopefully he's going to be okay, but, LeSean's gone through some of these things before in his past, and he always seems to come out fine. He takes very good care of his body. They're going to lean on him a lot. I think the biggest thing that's going to help this team, whether whoever's playing quarterback, is the offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, is finally going to go back to running a system that fits for these guys. This was not a match last year with Rick Dennison. They tried to run that zone blocking scheme. It just didn't work with the offensive line, with the quarterback and Tyrod Taylor. LeSean McCoy can run in any system, but it was tough. They're going back to more of a power scheme, a gap-running scheme. They're going to go with mismatches, and I really like that. Now, I think the offensive line, the starting unit, should be okay. I'm a little concerned about pass protection, and that's tough on a rookie quarterback, but I think they're going to run the ball just fine, and they should be okay in pass protection for the most part. I am concerned about the depth, though, of the offensive line. They don't have much behind the starting five. And then on top of that, at wide receiver, other than Kelvin Benjamin, there are a lot of question marks. Zay Jones, though, has really showed up and had a great camp since he's come back from the incident in L.A. and the injury that caused him to miss OTAs and minicamp. So, excited to see what he can do. And there are some spots on this roster, though, behind those guys that are still up for grabs for sure.
Can you help us kind of wade through this division? I'm really intrigued by the AFC East because outside of New England, it feels like there's just a lot of question marks that still need to be answered. I mean, I'm not sold on Miami, Sal. The Jets could certainly start a rookie quarterback in Sam Darnold, as might Buffalo. Where do the Bills stack up in this division?
It's funny with the Jets. I really thought they were going to be the worst team in the league last year. I'm as guilty as anybody on that.
Me too.
And I thought Todd Bowles did a great job. I mean, I think he deserved consideration for Coach of the Year, the way he was able to get more out of less. I think they did a great job with Josh McCown. I really like the Teddy Bridgewater pickup, and I think Sam Darnold could be really good in this league. What's funny to me, though, I think of it this way. I think that the Jets got the right quarterback. The question is, do they have the right organization around him? I think the Bills have the right organization. The question is, do they have the right quarterback? So it's kind of interesting how all that, tries to fit. And then when you talk about, the Miami Dolphins. So I think really the Jets and the Bills are kind of in the same boat in that regard where, they could wind up, doing some nice things here given what they did last year to, put enough together to surprise people and maybe be in contention for a wild card spot in December. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if either team took a step back. I am not at all enamored with the Miami Dolphins. I think they are in for a tough season. I think they had a chance to upgrade at quarterback or at least plan their quarterback of the future. They didn't. They still have Ryan Tannehill, a lot of question marks that come with him. They really jettisoned a lot of talent. I understand why as far as locker room stuff, but I just don't see the Miami Dolphins having anything on paper that can really compete in this division, even given the Jets and the Bills' deficiencies. And I think Miami's going to be in contention to be one of the worst teams in the league.
Sal, you mentioned McCoy. How is his mindset? Is he in the right frame of mind? He's had so much going on, man, away from the playing field. How's his focus and attention to detail and getting ready for a football season been?
It's a good question. And anytime we've spoken to him, he's seemed very focused. The team thinks that he's still focused, has his mind in the right spot. Remember a couple of years ago he had that incident with the undercover cops. There was the brawl, things like that. He went through that. He came out. He still had a great year. Look, let me tell you something about LeSean McCoy in case people don't know. LeSean McCoy is very aware of where LeSean McCoy stands in the NFL. He knows all about his stats, his numbers. He wants to be in the Hall of Fame someday. He makes no bones about it. He's at 10,000 rushing yards. He wants 12,000. That's his hashtag on Twitter, hashtag 12K Chase. If he gets to 12,000, he will definitely be in rarefied air and probably a Hall of Famer. So he's starting to be on the fringe of that. He doesn't want anything to screw that up. He works really hard to maintain his legacy. This was an incident that could really cost him, and we still think, there's still a possibility, although it seems like he's going to be available and there's going to be no suspension. That would be something that would really be a shame if LeSean McCoy missed time because of that, because he very much cares about his legacy, and he's going to be ready to play.
Sal, appreciate a few minutes here on Big Board Sports. Great work, as always, and I'm sure we'll keep in touch and get back at you when the season gets ready to roll.
Thank you, Sal.
Anytime, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sal.